Bryan Kohberger. It's been a while since I've talked about him, and I wanted to go over several updates, like the search warrant that was released or unsealed today, the Pennsylvania property where his parents live, the items that they took from him, the whole firing squad thing, the Justice for Bryan Kohberger Facebook group that has over 3,000 people, the supposed alleged pictures of the victims that he had on his phone. And make sure you check out DataSeal, a service that I use to protect myself from the crazies online, like my addresses, my family's addresses, relatives, all that kind of stuff, personal information. Use the link to save 5% off all and check out the free scan. Your information is being sold by data brokers all the time. It's easy for anybody to look up your information using people search websites. They can find your home address, date of birth, email address, phone number. DataSeal.io is the data removal and monitoring service I trust to remove my information from the internet. Click the link below and use the code 5OFFALL to save 5% off your DataSeal subscription. Let's start off with the items that were found on Kohberger. And so these items here, so Brian Enton breaks it down here and said that no receipt of the items taken from the house in the unredacted Bryan Kohberger, Pennsylvania search warrant. So no receipt of the items taken from the house. So we don't know the items taken from his parents' house, but we do know the items taken from his person. So these are actually items taken from him. Let me just get the actual documentation. Receipt for property, Bryan Kohberger. This is the Pennsylvania address. And it says here, description of items: 1 Defiant silver flashlight. Number 2, 4 medical style gloves, which is interesting. A lot of people keep gloves in their house, but still, considering those allegations that this guy was supposedly walking around, I don't even know if it's true or not, in gloves after the murders and stuff like that. 3 White Arizona jean, large t-shirt. Number 4, champion WSU. I'm not sure what this says here. The Cougars. I'm not sure. Champion WSU Cougars. Congers. Large black sweatshirt. Number 5, pair of black and white size 13 Nike shoes, which the latent shoe print, whatever, that the police found in that house, I thought they said they believe belonged to Vans. And so I guess this wouldn't be a match. I'm assuming. I don't know. Number 6, pair of black Under Armour socks. Number 7, Under Armour black large shorts. Number 8, Under Armour black boxers large. Number 9, 1 buckle swab. When he was taken into custody in Pennsylvania, cops seized items of clothing along with the flashlight, medical gloves, according to the newly released search warrant that became public today. And Under Armour is a brand of clothing. Okay, and so we talked about the items that they seized. Kohberger is believed to have been wearing dark clothing at the time of the murders. Over here it says 4 buckle swabs. They seized Under Armour socks, boxers, shorts, and a white sweatshirt he was wearing, and took 4 buckle swabs. I'm assuming, because I was like, did they do a grammatical error? Because it says here they seized 1 buckle swab. I don't know if they just mean that they actually swabbed him with 4. They used 4 buckle swabs on him. I don't know. And so it says here, police say he left a footprint with a diamond pattern on the sole that is consistent with a pair of Van sneakers. And latent means like that the footprint is not visible to the human eye. Like I guess they had to put some sort of chemical down, and that's when they saw the footprints. And if I remember correctly, I think it's 1 footprint. So why 1? Why not another one? When he was taken into custody, cops seized a pair of black Nikes. And we know that he's due back in court in June. Now, the other part that I think we should read, and so it says here, the warrant asks permission to seize a wide net of evidence from the Kohberger home. It's unclear what exactly agents found beyond what was listed. And so, just get the full. And so it says continuation of items to be searched and seized. So I just want to go down the list. Any and all the following which may be found on his person: blood or other bodily fluids or materials, and items with blood or other bodily fluids or materials on or in near them, knives, sheaths, other weapons, or instrumentalities of injury or death, and sales receipts or documentation from purchases or acquisition of such items, documents, records, medications, drugs, or other substances, prescription or otherwise, bottles, labels, syringes, packaging, and other items associated with medications, drugs, or other substances, prescription or otherwise, that could relate to physical or mental states of assailants or victims, or relating to or containing information indicating, suggesting, or otherwise evidencing violence, a physical attack, a fight, or motive/hostility for any of the same. And I was wondering too, is this like a template or is this custom? Even though I see the victim's names and address here, are they just filling in a template, or is this very specific to certain things that they're searching for? Because it's interesting that they're saying here, you know, I don't know if this is maybe just standard, but it's interesting, medications, and we know about Kohberger's alleged history. And so it says, any property belonging to Ethan, Kaylee, Xana, Madison, Bethany, or Dylan, documents, records, data compilations related to the 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho, and or Ethan or Kaylee or Xana, Madison, Bethany, Dylan, clothing to include but not limited to dark shirts or pants, masks, shoes with a diamond pattern sole, DNA, footprints, fingerprints, fibers, animal and or hair, or other physical or trace evidence or items bearing these, relating to or containing information indicating, suggesting, or related to violence, a fight, or motive/hostility for any of the same. 4 samples of Bryan Kohberger's DNA by buccal swabs taken from inside of Kohberger's mouth and or whole blood samples. So there's your answer to that. So this is what the Daily Mail articles are referring to. They wanted 4 samples of his DNA. Alcohol, beverages, other intoxicants, and any containers or receipts for the same. Data compilations relating to or containing information indicating, suggesting, or related to violence, stabbing, a fight, or motive/hostility for any of the same, to include without limitation ledgers, papers, lists, books, notes, letters, calendars, diaries, tapes, photographs, videos, or other media or similar documents or items, computer and communications devices capable of storing electronic data, other electronic storage devices and media, and access to contents of all of the above. All electronic devices, including all communications content, including email, text, or app chats, applications, cloud storage, notes, or voicemail, including attachments, source and destination addresses, time and date information, connection logs, images, and other records, including indicia of use, ownership, possession, or control of such communication or information found, all location data for the above, which may be stored in GPS locations or cellular tower connection data, including metadata of photos or social networking posts, Wi-Fi logs, and data associated with installed applications, which Wi-Fi logs, that supposed thing. There was, I think it was Kaylee's father that had said that Kohberger had connected to the Wi-Fi or something like that. And data associated with installed applications, all photographic, video/audio data and associated metadata, all internet history for the above, including cookies, bookmarks, web history, and search terms, all stored IP addresses associated, all financial information related to the above, all indicia of ownership and control for the data and cellular device, such as device identification and settings, data, addresses, books/contacts, social network posts/updates/tags, Wi-Fi network tables, associated wireless devices, Wi-Fi networks, Bluetooth devices, associated connected devices, backup devices, everything, or user dictionaries, indicia of residency in or ownership or possession of the vehicle, and any of the above items. And before I move on to the next one, I forgot this little portion of the affidavit. And so furthermore, investigators began physical surveillance of the property and area of the 119 Lambsden Drive, Chestnut Hill Township, and in the early morning hours of Tuesday, December 27, 2022, observed Bryan Kohberger walking near the residence. Additionally, Kohberger's vehicle was observed entering the Indian Mountain Lakes development on December 16, 2022, and the vehicle is still believed to be on the premises. Investigators are also monitoring Kohberger's cellular phone, which appears to be in the same vicinity of this residence. On Wednesday, December 28th, while conducting surveillance, investigators observed Kohberger traveling throughout Monroe County and arriving back at his residence on Lambsden Drive. Briefly want to touch on this, and I had heard about this days ago. And again, you know, it's people, Steve Helling, I don't know where they're getting their information from, but they say they have sources. And it says here, accused Idaho killer Bryan Kohberger allegedly had pictures of victim on his phone, source says. And it goes on to say a phone that belonged to Bryan Kohberger was collected after his arrest. According to the source, authorities found pictures of the victim on the device. The source did not specify whether they were photos that he had taken of her or if they were downloaded from her social media. He had more than one picture of her, the source says. It was clear that he was paying attention to her. I don't have too many thoughts on that. I guess we'll find out. I don't know. I guess there's multiple sources leaking out multiple information, and especially with this gag order and like that's been talked about multiple times. I think they even made it stricter. Somehow there's information still coming out. Let's talk about this firing squad thing, which is interesting. And so it says here, Republican State Representative Bruce Skagg introduced House Bill 186 on Wednesday, which would establish execution by firing squad as a backup to lethal injection. Idaho, and so I didn't know this part, Idaho, like several other states around the country, has struggled to procure ingredients for lethal injections in recent years, most recently forcing the state to cancel the execution last year of a man who murdered 2 gold prospectors in 1985. So I was thinking it was unlikely, but apparently I didn't even know there was a struggle to procure these ingredients. Skagg's bill calls for the director of Idaho Department of Corrections to certify whether lethal injection is available no more than 5 days after a death warrant is issued. If lethal injection is not available, then the death row inmate would be executed by a firing squad. Utah brought back firing squads in 2015 due to its own struggles with lethal injections. The practice was legal in Idaho until 2009 when it was banned. Interesting history. I still see it as unlikely. I just feel like social media and the certain movements that we have going on, they would just lose their mind. They'd find this unacceptable. According to this article from NY Times, because I was wondering when was the last time somebody was actually executed by a firing squad. And it says here the last person to be executed by firing squad in the United States was Ronnie Lee Gardner in 2010, who said he had chosen that method because there would be no mistake. So this guy actually chose it himself. And so I just don't see this as something. I just feel like there would be an uproar if they brought this back and people started doing this execution by firing squad. You guys let me know what you think about that. Let's talk about the Bryan Kohberger groups. There's various groups, not just Facebook groups, but Laura, I believe, pointed this out on my Discord. And so this is one of the groups. So this one here has almost 4,000 people, Justice for Bryan Kohberger. And then you have this other group here that has almost 13,000. And when you look at the history for this particular group, you can see their name changes, which is a common thing on Facebook where the groups will change their name. The first one was become a paid Facebook admin now. Second one was Justice for Amber Heard. You can see the shift or the way these people are already. June 18th, 2022, Christians against Buzz Lightyear. September 2nd, Christians against Hocus Pocus 2. November 2nd, Christians against Avatar. January 4th, 2023, then Justice for Bryan Kohberger. Okay, and then this other group doesn't have a name change history. This is an interesting read about the support for Bryan Kohberger, and there's people that believe in his innocence. And it says here that there's various groups and amassed over 16,000 fans across social media. There are at least 2 supporter groups on Facebook, which we talked about, both titled Justice for Bryan Kohberger, while over on Reddit, fans have been leaving sympathetic messages and creepy fantasies about the hot suspect on pro-Kohberger groups. You got the Bryan Kohberger one and Bryan Nation. One Facebook group shows a cover image of the quadruple murder suspect pictured alongside Ronald Jones, a Chicago man who was wrongly convicted and sentenced to death for the and murder of a mother of 3. His conviction was overturned. There is just something so magnetic about Bryan. If he really did creep women out, I don't know why. If he stared at me immensely, I would have walked over to him, a Reddit user who frequents the Kohberger pages told Fox News. This Reddit poster here, it says, it seems that he really wanted to have friends. BK was clingy once he felt like he could speak with you. I'd love if he acted clingy with me. Okay. The Reddit poster went on to tell Fox News that she joined the social media site around a month after Kohberger's arrest and insisted that she is not a troll, referring to Kohberger as a hot suspect. I'm a psychopath, and I'm drawn to the dark triad personalities. If any of the information that has come out about him is true, this would be part of it for me. The woman identified as Jane Doe. She went on to identify herself as having hybrostophilia. the official term for lusting after people with a criminal record. It's somebody for everybody, right? It is colloquially known as Bonnie and Clyde syndrome, after the American crime couple immortalized in the eponymous film. And they go to talk about infamous serial killers that also received fan mail from women, and also the legitimacy of this Facebook group, which we just talked about as well. And Britney, which we've already covered on this channel. I guess Britney has competition. You better step it up. There's a lot of other women after Bryan Kohberger, apparently. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you check out Unsealed. Hit the like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications. We'll be back tomorrow, I think at 11. I think that's the time. It could be pushed back further. Make sure you check out the stream tomorrow. A lot of things happening behind the scenes for me. So just thank you for bearing with me. Love you guys. Take care. Peace. Bloop, bloop.